Welcome to Sun and Moon's YouTube channel. I'm Annie Moyer. This class is called When It's All Too Much. And it can be defined in any way you choose. And too much is relative. It's relative to the time, to the circumstance, and to the person or people involved. And so we all have our thresholds of too much, and we all have our it's. So for some of us right now in July of 2020, the it is most likely COVID fears and quarantine challenges. But it could also be just typical family dynamics. It could be feelings of fear in general and anxiety. It could be sense of loneliness and longing. It could be overwhelmed with work. Some people, work is much differently changed and diminished, and for some people, it's amped up considerably. So it changes for everybody, and too much is a threshold that's relative to what it is and who the person is. All this by way of saying that the capacity to check in with ourselves and watch the overwhelm rising, and then to step in with the rational mind, with the thinking mind, with the conscious witness, and say, "Ooh, too much. Let's take it down. Let's do something for ourselves. Let's be okay." And if there's not somebody around to tell you that you're okay, we got to take that responsibility on for ourselves and do the practices, do the rituals, do the breath, do the movement, do whatever the things are that remind us that we're okay. So for me, those things to counteract the feeling of it being all too much involve staying close to the ground and doing simple, easy, organic, natural movements that flow from one to another, that don't follow too many rules, that feel natural, that feel soothing and quiet. So I'll invite you to start in a child's pose. Excuse me, mister. So in child's pose, hips drop back to the heels. We're going to be here for a bit of time. So if you want some padding under your seat or on top of your heels or underneath your ankles, that can help you build up capacity to stay here for a bit of time. And then arms out in front or out to the sides or behind you, forehead down. You can rest it on something, or you can bring it all the way to the ground, any way you like. So just let the head hang, let the neck soften and release, the jaw be at ease, and begin to breathe. I'll invite you to take the breath into various parts of the body. And if you feel that, then that's great. And if you don't feel it, you're not doing it wrong. So for the first trial breath in this way, can you take a big inhale and let it rise up the back of your body? Let it puff out the back plane of your torso. And then as you exhale, let it release. On the next breath in, let the inhale puff up the front of the body, and you may feel your belly insisting itself out more firmly into the thighs. And then exhale, let it soften back in. Do that a few more times. Inhale, alternating the breath into the back of the body. Exhale, let it soften and release. And then inhale the breath into the front of the body and let it soften and release. So alternating breaths and areas of the body where you feel the breath. And we're close to the ground to get in touch with a place that feels like it's a source of comfort. Inhale, puffing up the back. Exhale, releasing. Inhale, puffing up the front. Exhale, releasing. The next little challenge is when you puff up the back on the inhale and you exhale and release. When you puff up the back and you exhale and release, keep the back puffed up. So whatever space you gained on that inhale, keep it as you exhale. And then when you inhale and puff up the front, keep that space that you gained as you exhale. So what we're trying to do is to make the torso feel expanded on both sides, front and back. And that you gain a little space, you create some openness, and you don't give it up on the transition of the next breath. And then slowly rise up toward table pose and drop back again into child's pose and just go back and forth, rising up and dropping back, rising up and dropping back, rising up and dropping back. And the next time you rise up, stay up in table pose. Extend one leg back and keep it back. And then drop the heel down and start to turn your heart to the side and open up an arm. Let the arm float up behind you and bring it back down. And then the other one. Stretch the leg back, turn to the side, open up the arm, and bring it down. And then keep alternating sides. And then come back to child's pose. And from child's pose, lift the chest. Keep your arms fairly extended. And walk them over to the side as you hold your pelvis steady. And then reach sideways and drop the head down. And then come back to center and walk the other way. And And then back to center. A couple more times in each direction, just stretching to the side. Centering, other side. And center. Inhale, rise up to table pose again, and then extend one leg back and keep it back, and come down onto your elbows. And stay here and reach both hips away from both elbows. Let your head hang down. And switch legs, stay on your elbows, stretch the other leg back, hang your head down. Reach both hips away from both elbows. And alternate. Now come up onto your hands again, regular table pose. Roll over your knees, onto your thighs, onto your belly, onto your chest, onto your forehead as you tuck your chin. And then inhale, lift your heart, rise up. And then exhale, release. And then push back, child's pose. So here's that little sequence again, and we'll repeat it a few times, rolling over the knees onto the thighs, the belly, the chest, and the forehead. Rise up, gentle cobra, lifting the heart right back down. And push back to child's pose. And then do that just a few more times. Just a few more times. Come back to table pose and tuck your toes and lift up your knees and stretch back into downward facing dog. And from dog pose, put both feet together, bend your knees, turn them to one side and drop onto your hip. And then open up one arm, turn your heart to the side, reach up and back. And then come back down. And then back up into dog pose. Pause for a breath. Put the feet together again, bend the knees, turn them to the other side, drop onto the hip. Open up the arm, the heart, the shoulders, and the gaze, reaching back and looking up. And then come back down, back to dog pose. And then bring the knees to the ground and slide one shin forward. So you're just skating that shin along the ground until the knee comes to a comfortable distance in front of you. Drop onto the hip of your front leg. So we're doing a soft pigeon. Turn toward your front thigh. Walk your hands forward. Hold down. You may feel a nice satisfying stretch in the outer hip of your front leg. Long, slow breaths, really easy. Making it easy when it's all too much. And then come back up. Now keep this knee bent, the leg that's in front, keep it bent. And we're gonna swivel onto the hip of the back leg. Lift up the bent knee And turn to face your back leg that was straight. And now you're in a twist. And now turn and twist to the open side. And we're going to go out the way we came in. So turn around toward the bent knee and then shift your torso around to face the short side of your mat. Swing the bent knee in front of you. Tuck the toes and then slide back to table pose. Always feel free to throw in a downward facing dog in between. And then come back down, both knees, and skate the other shin forward until the knee comes to a comfortable distance in front of you. Drop onto the hip of your front leg. Turn and face the front leg and walk forward and fold down. Long, steady breaths. And then walk back up. Take the front knee, lift it as you turn and face what was your back leg. And now you're twisting towards your bent knee, holding it with your opposite arm. And twist towards your open side. Come back the way we came in. Spin around, drop the bent knee, lift the back hip, face the front of your mat, and slide your knee back to table pose, downward facing dog. Come back down onto the knees. Drop back to child's pose. Take your hands back by your knees and then rise up through the torso so you're sitting tall on your heels, and always support your knees with something under your seat or under your ankles, whatever you need. So you're sitting on your heels. Inhale, reach up until your hips are standing over your knees, and then lean back a little bit as you lift the heart, reaching behind you, and then come back down. And then again, rise up, lean back, and come back down. And rise up and lean back and come back down. Come onto your hands and knees again. This time, take one hand and center it under your nose. Take the other arm, reach it up, turn your heart sideways, and then take that arm and swing it underneath you and out to the other side as you come into a thread the needle twist. Keep your arms at 90 degrees from each other. And just keep lifting the shoulder of your forward arm. You can tent your fingertips out in front, and that sometimes can help you get a little more lift. The bottom shoulder is scooping underneath and reaching sideways. And if that bottom shoulder feels unsupported or strained in any way, put something underneath it, a blanket or a block. And then come back up and do the other side. So center the other hand under your nose, lift an arm, turn the heart. On an exhale, scoop the arm underneath, out to the other side. Extend your forward arm out in front of you so that your arms are at 90 degrees. And perhaps tent your fingertips of the front arm. Roll the shoulder back, lifting the chest a little bit higher. Taking the breath a little bit deeper. And then come back up, table pose. Come back onto your heels, again, with whatever support you need to keep your knees and ankles happy. And a similar twist now. Center one hand in front of you, take the other arm underneath, and then look under your arm. So it's thread the needle, but from child's pose instead of table. And then you can extend the arm a little further forward. You can walk it around to the side, and maybe that takes the twist a little deeper if that's satisfying. And then undo it and redo it on the other side. And now come all the way forward and again down onto your belly. Put your hands under your forehead. Rest your forehead down on your hands. And stretch one leg back and lift it up gently away from the floor and then release it. And then same thing with the other leg. So lift it up and extend it back a little bit as it comes down. And then just one at a time, as if your legs are inching you backwards and making themselves longer and longer by tiny increments with each step. And then pause and turn your head to one side and just relax for a breath. And turn to the other side and relax for a breath. And then back to center. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up just enough to come onto your elbows and roll onto your back. And from your back with your knees bent, feet on the floor, rock your pelvis forward and backward. And then pause. Pull one knee in. Hug the knee, straighten the leg up. Hug the knee in again. Take the bent knee out to the side. Bring it to center. Straighten it up and step the foot down. Other side. Pull the knee in and straighten the leg up. And pull the knee in and take it out to the side. And bring it back up, straighten it. And pull the knee in and step the foot down to the ground. Pull both knees in and circle them around a few times in each direction. And then pause. Hug your knees and your legs. Curl yourself into a little ball. And then slowly, in any way you like, make your way up to sit. And then just sit quietly, taking in breaths, taking in all of the present moment circumstances. Notice the quiet. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste. I hope you have a wonderful and peaceful day. Sorry for the doggy interruptions. I think it's all getting too much for him too. Take good care, everybody. See you soon.